Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Windows to Heaven Art. I'm your host Stephen Cooley, and this is the place where I share with you guys tips and tricks that I've picked up as an artist, things that will help the budding artist grow. So recently I've been getting clued into the fact that there's a very close relationship between drawing and painting. I found out that sketching is a prerequisite to painting, and I didn't really realize how closely the two are related. So for instance, when you sketch something out, you are learning how to work the subject. Whether you're doing wildlife, whether you're doing landscapes or seascapes, sketching is a great way to learn your subject and to train your eye with things like your relationship between darks and lights, as well as things like just the lines that it takes to create something. You will be training yourself for the easel, so that you then carry that experience over into your painting. So I've been really challenged lately to make a practice of sketching, and whether you devote 15 minutes or an hour to it, any amount is helpful. So in this video we're going to look at sketching and also what it can do for us painting. Let's get into it. Sometimes my day in the studio isn't going to be complete unless I have a good cup of tea. Now, sketching is something that I want to do more often than I do now. So I'm going to take out the old drawing pad and just get into a habit of sketching. You notice my sketch pencils here are covered in dust. That's because I haven't broke them out in a while. And I would like to get into a lot more advanced forms of drawing, you know, like with chalk, etc. But you don't have to have that to start out. You just get some graphite pencils, some erasers, and you're set. So what I'm going to start out doing here is just creating some little boxes here on this large page so that I can fit a few sketches into one page, because the drawing pad I have is pretty big. And you notice here that I don't really have a proper sketch table, so I just have this makeshift one that I threw together here, and I think it's gonna work. So I got my laptop over on the right that I'm setting up with a reference photo, and I'm just gonna sit down and see what comes of this. Now the idea behind this is when you start sketching and you jump into a drawing, inevitably you'll run into roadblocks. For example, you might wonder, how can I make the sky work out here? Or wonder what is wrong with the perspective in your painting, because you can tell it's not really working out. So you'll inevitably run into roadblocks that you'll be forced to deal with and figure out. And because it's a sketch, you know, there's no color involved, and it's a lot more rudimentary of a medium, and it's a lot more simple a form of art. You will learn how to work through those problems, I feel like, at a really quick rate. And as I found out doing these sketches, I did encounter a lot of these roadblocks that forced me to find solutions to them. And I was really surprised at how quickly it challenged me. I was being challenged to work through these problems at a pretty quick rate, whereas when you're painting, I feel like everything is kind of slowed down. So sketching, in other words, is a great way to improve your art by having to work through various problems that you'll encounter. I remember at one stage doing a sketch and thinking, boy, the perspective is kind of off on this. And then it forced me to have to find a solution to fixing the perspective and making it work. And because I've been doing a lot of seascapes lately, that's kind of what I'm into. I dove into sketching seascapes, and this is the first one here, where I wanted to have a shoreline with the sea coming in on the left, with a sea rock sticking out of the surf kind of on the left side, and then also having a cliff on the right side with a waterfall coming over the edge of it and spilling onto the beach, which has been an idea that I've had floating around in my head for a while, and sketching it out really allows you to begin the initial process of working out a composition. And in fact, often I will do that before I actually paint something. I will sketch it out beforehand, and then just work through it that way. But you don't have to necessarily paint everything you sketch. Just jump right in and sketch something that you're into, and you'll be surprised at how much it will teach you, how much you'll learn from it. I really felt quite rusty with my sketches here as I began to pick up the pencil again and work on some. I used to do a lot more sketching as a younger person, and looking back, I feel like that foundation of sketching, that base in drawing that I had, really propelled my art to go farther than maybe it would have if I had never got into sketching. I feel like my sketching early on really helped advance me in art quickly. And that's not to say that every sketch you do is going to be a masterpiece, but it's more of a training field for your eye, and just the coordination between your eye and your hand, and just how you develop shapes and contours and lighting, and where you place detail. It trains you in so many things that are essential for something like painting. And the idea for doing this didn't originate with me. I really was looking up different things online, and I really found that one of my favorite artists who's influenced me a lot has devoted an entire series on his YouTube channel to just sketching. You can see the finished sketch here with the waterfall coming in on the beach. Now I'm going to begin another one, just because sketching is a quick method of doing art, and you can really explore a lot more when you sketch. You can do tons of different subjects, try things out, see what you're good at, see what you like more, and then notice the areas that you need improvement in as well. So it really is invaluable. But anyway, this artist that I was looking up, he had devoted an entire series on his YouTube channel just to sketching, and he is an oil painter. So it is really beneficial, in other words, if you are a painter who likes to paint on canvas. I was really surprised at how often I felt like I didn't know where I was going with sketch. Yeah, I felt like I was constantly running into these roadblocks that I've mentioned previously, where it felt like I just didn't quite have the answers that I needed going forward. And so it was really quite mentally engaging. I had to find quick solutions because sketches go so quick. I was forced to find quick solutions to these problems that I would encounter. And I really challenged myself as well not to give up on a sketch, to just try to work it until I could get it to something that I felt proud of. So, that being said, I felt like some sketches were better than others. This particular one, I really felt, I think, the most struggle overall with. But that doesn't mean that you aren't accomplishing your purpose for sketching. Because at the end of the day, at least for me, these sketches are simply a way to learn lessons that will inform my painting. I know sketching and drawing is an art form in and of itself, but it is, like I've been saying, a great way to improve your skills as a painter. It's like working out your art muscles. And the more you do something, as is with working out, you're going to get better at it. You're going to build those muscles up and you're going to improve. So if you want to improve your painting, sketching like this is an excellent exercise, both mentally and also just training your eye how to create art that works. With this particular drawing, I really worked a long time on figuring out how to make it work at an optimal level, and I really figured out some things to do to it that made it work, I feel like, somewhat well at the end, but I had to arrive at those conclusions throughout the process of sketching it. I didn't know everything from the outset. And here you see me starting another one. This one, I feel like the lesson I took away from this was constructing proper perspective. You can see I have a shoreline coming in from the right side. And because I was mostly sketching from my head, I didn't really have a reference photo to follow for this one. That kind of forced me to have to figure it out on my own, and how it forced me to dig in and figure it out. I find that oftentimes just jumping into the deep end, if you will, without a reference photo is a great way to see where any deficiencies might be in your ability to create a composition. Now you'll see me at different points putting my finger up there and just kind of rubbing the graphite, just like I did there. I just kind of did that as a impulse in the moment. I do understand that they have tools for rubbing and doing that, and there's other ways that you can do that. The problem with me doing that was I actually ended up, I think, getting the oils of my skin into the sketch, which kind of hampers the way the graphite works, whether you're erasing or laying new graphite on top of it. So not to mention it's also really messy as well. You can see me at one point just kind of looking at my hands and realizing, boy, they're really quite messy. Which, as a side note as well, graphite, when it's in its dust form, isn't very good to breathe in. So don't go around sniffing your graphite dust. But yeah, I got my hands really quite dark with graphite just because I kept rubbing it. And I guess where I'm going with that tip is get something, whether it's like a Q-tip even, I suppose that would work, but get something that's meant to rub the graphite and smooth it out instead of using your fingers to do it. And also, you notice how my hand is resting at different points on top of the sketch. I have learned that if you wear a glove, like a thin glove, or maybe that's a fingerless glove, you can prevent your hand from rubbing your sketch, and also just getting those oils of your hand onto the sketch, just because the glove will prevent that. So those are just little side notes to go along with the practicality of sketching that I'm probably going to be thinking about more going forward with my sketches. Those are just little things that you learn when you jump into something. So take it from me, there are ways that you can improve your sketching experience. And you can see this is the finished sketch. And with that, we've completed 3 sketches. Well, that wraps up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the content, leave me a like and also consider subscribing. Also, leave me a comment. I love your guys' feedback. Until next time, though, God bless you guys. We'll see you later.